This journaling practice, if you only do it once or twice per week, it will drastically change the way you perform. And I guarantee that it won't only just change what you achieve, it'll also change how you feel whilst you're achieving it. I've been building on this morning practice for a while, and I've been pulling this from all different sources. And I believe that this is the ultimate journaling practice. Every morning, it's not only practical, it's not woo-woo, it's not head in the cloud, it's real. By implementing this every morning, to be honest, even just a couple of times a week, and then reading it every morning, is going to drastically change how you live your life. So there's 8 key elements to this, and how I structure it, to begin with, what I call the brain dump. The brain dump is all the thoughts that are looping around in your head, basically in your subconscious. And if you're not careful, these same thoughts will just keep spiraling and spiraling and spiraling all day long. You'll just think about the same shit pretty much all day. And what this enables you to do is take those thoughts out of your head and put them on a piece of paper. Anything that's going on, what your girlfriend said to you last night that's winding you up, the fact that your ankle's hurting, the fact that you didn't have a good sleep, neighbours were keeping you awake late, you didn't enjoy the TV show you watched last night, all this like negative niggly things that spiral round and round and round, just get them on paper, and for whatever reason, I don't know the science behind it, once they're on paper, your brain goes quiet. So just that removal of that repetitive, circling thoughts that are usually pretty tedious things, get them on paper, look at them, and all of a sudden they lose their power. So start with a brain dump. This can be as short or as long as whatever's going on in your head. Sometimes this is really effective for me when I've got a lot on my mind, but sometimes the brain dump can just be like, all right, let's check in on how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about. Could be a couple of lines. It all depends on how much is in your head at that given time. Now, the second step is something that I guess I've pulled from Stoic philosophy, from people like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. So if we look at the older version of you, is he really going to want you to be all stressed out about some project that you've got going on? Or is he just going to be more like, enjoy the process? Is he going to want you to hold a grudge to an argument that maybe you had with a friend or a girlfriend? No, he's going to want you to just let it go. Because that version of you, time is finite, and the small shit really just, it allows you to let it go ultimately, and view it from that perspective of someone who doesn't have the amount of time that you have right now. Sometimes mine is as simple as the older version of myself would tell myself to have more fun today and to not take life too seriously, to enjoy the process and to focus on things that make me happy rather than just being like obsessed with money all the time. So these are the sort of messages that I found that I get from my older self. Now, the third aspect, the journaling practice, is a letter from your younger self. So think of an age whereby you were full of aspirations and dreams. And this is for some of you who maybe think a little bit too small, right? When we were 10 and 11, 12, we thought we were going to be actors, film stars, athletes, millionaires. But then all of a sudden, as you grow up, you start to forget that that's actually possible for anyone, because if someone else can do it, that means you can do it. It's just we get trapped in these ruts and we allow people who haven't achieved their dreams influence us into what's possible. Write a little message from your 10-year-old self. Sometimes that might be think a little bigger. Have bigger dreams. For me, a lot of the time, my 10-year-old self, he's proud of what I've achieved. And I've actually achieved more than maybe what I thought I was going to do when I was 10. So it's that reminder as well, like looking at you from your perspective when you were a kid. Would you think that you were pretty cool right now, what you're doing? Or would you think settling a little bit? You were meant to be doing this by this age, and maybe just like a little kick up the arse from the 10-year-old version of you. Okay, so after we've boxed off the letters from our older self and our younger self, again, when I say letter, that does not have to be an actual letter. For me, usually it's 2 or 3 lines. Still not up to a page yet in a book like this, but now we get onto the more tangible goals. We don't do goals first because we want to get our head clear. We want to get our head thinking a certain way. So with 3-month goals, let's get tangible. Let's look at how much you'd like to be earning in 3 months' time. That might be going from 5k to 10k. It might be going from 10k to 50k. It might be going from 50k to 100k. Whatever it is, write down the tangible 3-month goal and hold yourself fucking accountable to it. What do you need to achieve in order to get to that amount? Is that a sale every day? Is that product that you sell every day? Is that a new client every day? Figure out the details behind it and hold yourself accountable. And let's move into the 5th aspect, which is your 3-year goals. This is when I want you to start painting a picture for your future. So for me, I write down things like $3 million property portfolio. I want $1 million stock portfolio. I want 2 main residences. I want a huge family. I want my mum to be there with my fiance and all my children and my brother and his children and my cousin and his children. All these people around me that I love, but also being that like stable financial center for them all, and spend my time coaching people and continuing investing. They're the things that I really enjoy doing. But I'm starting to really paint this picture here of a tangible 3-year goal of where I want to be. Okay, now we've got the specifics behind the goal. This brings me on to the section within the journaling practice that's potentially the most important. And this comes from one of my favorite books, Reality Transurfing. You can either write this or you can sit and close your eyes and vision it. So this is like, imagine you are watching that scene in 3 years' time, but watching it as a movie, but you're the main character. Now, I know it sounds a little bit woo-woo here, but just trust me on this, because if you can vision something, that means there's a possibility that it can happen. A lot of people's goals are kind of just non-tangible and they're not concrete. If you spend every morning actually envisioning something happening in detail, smells, how it actually feels to be at that point in your life, the chances of it happening are going to increase monumentally. And it's also going to dial in your focus every single morning, tying it to that long-term goal, that long-term vision. This is all about how you would feel and what would it be like if you were already there. And now we're on to the 7th point, which I got from an audiobook called The Stranger's Secret. And the concept of this book is that you are what you think about. So this is a statement that you're going to write to yourself of what you choose to think about today. This is all about stepping into the version of yourself that you know you can become. So for me, it might be that I think of myself as an extremely wealthy, successful closer who looks to have unchained freedom and inspire others to do the same, as an example. But it's more about how you choose to think about yourself and what you choose to think about. Because often what we think about is what materializes into reality. For whatever reason, that's just how the universe seems to work. So the more you think about yourself in a more positive light, or look at things with a glass half full perspective, that's how things are going to materialize. And finally, the final point, because a lot of this is very much like future based, because for me, that's the way I am. Like, I'm very tied into goals. I've got huge aspirations. So this is the sort of journaling practice that works for me. But to bring everything back here and make us appreciative of what we've got already, because I'm super appreciative of my life. I'm basically living my dream life right now. And it's important to remember that, because it's great to always be pursuing things, always trying to improve, always trying to get better. But it's also just as important to appreciate what you have now. So the final section is a gratitude practice. Pick a few things that you actually have gratitude for today and explain why. And that's just going to recenter you. And all of these things together, for me, give that complete energy at the start of the day, because we're tied into our short-term goals. We're tied into our long-term goals. We can actually feel them. We've actually experienced them already. We are thinking about ourselves in a certain way. We've emptied our head of any negative self-talk or any spiraling thoughts, but we're also coming at all of our challenges for the day from a place of gratitude, from a place of calm, certainty, and contentment with our current space, but we know where we're going. And believe me, if you implement this on a daily basis, or even just a couple of times a week, because I know we all live busy lives, sometimes I will spend a good half an hour on this on a Monday. And then throughout the week, they sort of just get a little bit shorter because my goals are the same, right? So it's more about just like touching back in base with those goals and just reconnecting with it on a morning basis, so then the trajectory of your day looks a certain way. And this is going to stop so many things. It's going to stop bad habits, it's going to stop negative self-talk, it's going to stop fear, it's going to stop that lack of belief that you have in yourself sometimes, because we're programming our mind first thing in the morning in a certain way. So honestly, give this a try, and I would love it for it to work as well for you as it has for me. And if it does, and if you do it for a week, I would love to hear from you. I'd love a comment, even just drop me a DM on Instagram, because it'd really make me happy if other people started implementing this and started seeing some positive changes. I hope that was helpful. Ciao.